Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Convos with Sazón. Yours truly, Gata Mejia. With us today is an alternative Latin R&B artist, YANCYABRÍL. Welcome, girl. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here with you. You look lovely.
You too. You too. I love the fit.
Thank you.
Congratulations are in order because you recently released a single.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's called Miami. I specifically spelled it out as Miami because I love saying it in that way instead of Miami. And it gives it some extra flavor. But also, the song to me means so much freedom. I was in a really dark place and I had the opportunity to go to Miami for some music-related things. And when I had gone there, I had never felt so free and my eyes opened to what life could be. So this song came about and I was inspired by all the people that I had met. And it's one of my favorites that I've written. Of course, a lot of my songs that I've written I love because they're mine. But this one is very special to me because it's meeting a newer version of myself that I hadn't yet met and always wanted to meet.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you want to sing a little bit of it?
Yeah. So what part should I start from?
Whichever one's your favorite, or maybe which one did you write first? What part of the song did you write first? Or do you literally from start to finish is how you write it? How does that start?
My songwriting is sometimes all messed up. It depends on the day. Sometimes I'll just start with the chorus. Sometimes it'll just be a silly melody that comes up and then I write with my guitar, or I have a friend who has a beat and I'm like, oh yeah, can I use that? And let's add this and this and that. But sometimes it's just verse because I'm like low-key OCD. So I'm like, okay, I got to go in order. So that's usually how I go. The first part, I think that was the first place that I started, the first verse. And it goes, something about the way you're looking at me says you feel the waves, I feel it too. Another secret rendezvous, I'll do anything to be with you. Saying this is wrong doesn't make it right. Yeah. And then it goes into Spanish and stuff.
Well, for those who haven't listened to it, it is out now. So please do yourself a favor and listen to it. I want to backtrack a little bit because you and I met at an artist showcase. And the same goosebumps that I felt when I walked into that room and heard you singing are the same goosebumps that I felt now. And I think you have such a beautiful voice. I'm sure you've heard that. I hope you continue to hear that all the time because it's true. Music has this power, right, to transport you to specific places, to specific moments in time, to also make you feel very specific things. Yeah. So what is your goal through your music? What do you want people to feel when they hear your songs?
I want people to feel raw emotion. With my songs, and a lot of people, Miami is slightly different because that was just a fun song that I just wanted to release. And you can still hear the raw vocals, but for the majority of my songs, I don't use auto-tune. I usually leave a lot of the imperfections in there because in society now, we're like so obsessed with perfection in especially music. And that's not what music is. You're supposed to feel all of those feelings. And I don't want my voice to be so polished, I guess. Obviously not be so detuned,
but it's what makes you you.
Yeah, it's what makes me. And jazz is a big part of my musical journey. I studied it in school. I breathed that music, and it shaped my voice a lot. So I want people to feel just raw emotion. I want people to connect to a lot of my songs. I do talk about my darker side. We all have those dark moments. We all go through things in life that we each have our own stories. But I also want people to feel the beautiful feelings like Miami. So I just want people to feel feelings. I want people to feel. That's it. That especially when I'm performing live.
So I want to get to know you, and I'm sure people do as well. So aside from your artistry, are you? And then we can follow that up with how you started in music.
It's so hard to separate myself from music because I feel like I've become one with it.
I love it.
And I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing. But But this is so cliche. I'm just Yancy. I'm just a girl who honestly,
just a girl.
I'm just a girl. I'm very goofy. I start singing when something pops up in my head and it's just at random times. I love to explore. I love adventure. I love trying new things. Like, girl, if you tell me, girl, let's go over here tomorrow, I'll be like, yes, I'll be there. No worries.
Like time and place someday.
Yes, time and place. But also I love my alone time. I love protecting my energy. And sometimes I do that too much, to the point where I don't even know how to socialize. You know what I mean? So like, I am down for everything, but at the same time, I'm not.
There's a balance in life.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, I'm just Yancy.
And how did you start in music?
Oof, girl, it's been a journey. I've always been into the arts, into music, performing. But it wasn't until I was 9 years old, I did this talent show in 5th grade. And once I got on that stage, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I need to do for the rest of my life. It's on YouTube. You can find it. A little 10-year-old chubby girl.
Gosh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
It's so cute. I had my long hair. My hair doesn't grow that long anymore. I don't know what happened. It is what it is. And so from then on, I knew exactly what I wanted for my life. And I at that time was living in Dykeman with my mom, single bedroom apartment, single mom. And those were actually my happiest days with my mom and me. She was a young mom too. She was like 25 at that time. So yeah, I started music very early. And so by 14, I was professionally gigging. Yeah. So your girl was in the bars, singing with cover bands, getting paid. Maybe not that much money, but I was getting paid. So I've been doing this for a very long time. It's been a long journey.
How long has it been at this point?
Probably 12 years. Yeah. Yeah. And I can like go off on a tangent on the frustrations of it.
Please do. We're diving deep into everything, girl.
It's frustrating because when I was 9, I had already had the idea of what I wanted my life to be like by 21 and 22. And it wasn't that. And I had to find a way to forgive myself. I had to find a way to forgive myself for not getting there. And why am I getting emotional? How emotional? We're only here for 5 minutes. We're here for 5 minutes and I'm ready to cry. What's going on?
No, but I can 100% relate.
That was tough. So after college, I'm like, crap. I wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a signed artist. I wanted to be touring the world, having a bigger following. And it's not even about the fame. It's just having my music be impactful to a wider audience.
And the recognition for the talent and that higher platform to connect with people.
Yes. And that's my main thing. I want you to connect with me and find, I don't know, safety with when you listen to my voice. Because for me, that was Amy Winehouse. When I listened to her first, her
Valerie,
debut.
Fun Fact is my go-to character.
Yeah.
I don't know if I sing it well, but it's a whole other story.
Yeah, but her debut album, Frank, that was so healing for me. Although it wasn't like I related to every word she wrote, but her voice, her music, the whole thing, I was like, wow, I feel at home with this song. With this album. So yeah, I had to learn I'm still learning how to forgive myself for not being at where I wanted to be, because I felt like I had let myself down. And I kind of became obsessed. I'm going to say it. I became obsessed with the idea of who I wanted to be as an artist, that big artist. And I'm still not there yet. But I know in my heart that I can be.
100%. I also think, too, that's a reflection of the pressure that society kind of puts on us, right? There's always checkpoints, right? It's like you were saying, at 21, this. And as women as well, there's a whole other side to that, is kind of added to our plates. And at the end of the day, this is going to sound cliche, but it's true. It's your journey. It is your life. Your timing is whatever is meant to be. Right. I preach this because I've lived it, and I'm sure you can relate that no path is linear, and you can plan to a T. I'm a huge planner. I don't know if you are too.
Girl, I sure am.
Okay. And we have to learn to accept that plans don't always go as you expected. In my case, very fortunately, it's gone even better, but I could have never planned for the detours, you know, that ultimately make you who you are today, you know, and I think it makes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it makes the journey that much sweeter because you're at the top of the hill, right? And you kind of look down how far you've come and you're like, wow, like I did that. That wasn't easy, but I did it. And there's a long way to go as well. And the beauty, but also the hardships that come with that. So that's so beautiful that you how you said that.
Thank you. And it does make you a stronger person, a smarter person, all these hardships that a lot of us artists have to go through, working multiple jobs at a time. I remember before I had done The Voice Dominicana, I was working 10-hour days, Monday through Fridays, as a city year member because I needed a little bit more income. My gigs weren't paying that much. It's not like I wanted to, but I needed to, but also it was a rewarding experience, of course. I'm giving back to my community. But I was working 10-hour days. And aside from that, after 6 p.m., I'm gigging as well. So I would get home at around 11 to 12 midnight, wake up at 5 a.m. and do it over again. Yeah. But I'm grateful for those moments because I think it just makes me my story makes it more relatable, I think, to whoever 100%. Listens to me. And also one thing I wanted to mention too is doing this, especially by myself. I don't have a team. I don't have anybody or family members that are with me through all these moments. But a lot of people, they find you at a open mic or something, right? Or at a gig. They come up to you and they sell you these dreams. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this for you. Oh, I'm going to get you signed with this. Look, your life is about to change in 2 months. And I had a few people do that to me. And I would get so excited because as a young girl, you're like, yes, oh my gosh, finally people are noticing.
Waving a little carrot.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And then, they either ghost you and you're confused as to, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough as an artist. They found somebody else, or it's like, I don't know what am I doing wrong or what's wrong with me kind of thing. That's what kept going on in my mind. But I was like, you know what? Especially this year, I've been so detached and just focused on doing the thing and giving quality art because I was rushing a lot of my art to stay relevant. But to give good work. And I was just like, you know what? Nobody wants to sign me. Okay. Nobody wants to manage me. Fine. I know in my heart that this is what I want to do. Yes or yes. Sí or sí.
Amen.
And I'm going to do it.
And you are doing it.
Yeah, I am. And I'm slowly growing my team. I have my 2 friends out here that I had met through networking events, and which I'm so grateful for and we can get into as well. Mm-hmm. But I've just been doing my own thing and just said, can I curse?
Oh, yeah.
I just said, fuck it. I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to let people see what they missed. Yeah. The people that made me think that they could do something for me and let me down. So, yeah.
Sorry you've been let down. But I do think those are important lessons.
They are.
And I think we sometimes forget that we have free will. Yeah. And it's not easy to do it ourselves. But at the end of the day, what you put out there, you can fully say, it wasn't just you, because obviously no one does things by themselves, but it does take a village. But you would rather, I'm sure, have people in your corner and as part of your village who truly believe in what you do, who equally apply the same amount of love to everything that you put out there. And people will see that if they haven't already. And that's what ultimately people will connect to. The vulnerability that you put in your songs, the vulnerability and openness that you have when you talk about your experience. So give yourself credit for that. It's not easy, girl. I'm proud of you. Seriously.
Thank you so much. You need to hear it once in a while. So thank you.
Tell me about the significance of all of these events that give you exposure, whether it's playing at random bars or open mic nights or artist showcase, networking events. How do all of those come into play, not only into shaping you as an artist, but into growing your journey?
Well, I'll start with your network is very important. And a lot of the places that you'll meet your network are at gigs that you play at, networking events, or open mic events. And that building relationships in this industry is very important. People want...
And in life.
Yeah, well, and everything.
Yeah.
People don't want to feel like they're being used for what they can do for other people. So it's really building a relationship with people. Of course, it will end up being a business thing, but treat them as a person first, rather than, oh, what can I get from them?
Yeah.
But these, especially networking events, sometimes it's a miss, you know, sometimes you don't get what you want out of it. But the majority of the time, you'll find people who are willing to help you, videographers, just people that want to be en el can, like my mom says, you know, they want to help, they want to be outside, they want to be in the artist world. It's really important to show your face as well. Like, I've been to many different events and they're like, oh, Yancy, I remember you from here. And it really does help. And they're like, oh, you know what? I have you in mind for something else. And that's how things happen. And a lot of the gigs that I've gotten and opportunities I've gotten was because of that. Either I was recognized at a gig, or a random person was watching and was like, oh, I'd love for you to perform here. Or someone that I met at a networking event was like, oh, you'd be perfect for this.
Yeah.
Or you just connect and something happens in the future, which has happened for me too.
What advice do you have for maybe people who want to get started, right, in the music industry, and almost like a pep talk? If you could give a pep talk to someone in those shoes right now, or to your younger self, what would you tell them in terms of how intentional they should be when they enter a room, right? And how to set boundaries so that you're still true to your art without sacrificing in order to get ahead, or in order to give in to the carrots that are dangled in front of you?
There are so many things that I could say, but one I want to start with, it depends on how you want to go about it. If you want to be the kind of artist that just does it because they love the art and they just want to sing here and there, they don't care for really releasing music or listeners or whatever, that's different than someone who wants to really like be global or be touring and selling out venues, because that then brings in the business. And so I would say learn the music business. Of course, figure out your sound, figure out a producer that you can work with that gets your idea. That's important, of course. And that should be the very first thing. But at the top of the list as well is learning the business of music. Your publishing. Do you have a distributor? How are you going to do that? Money. Money is really important to get a lot of these things done. You don't need a big budget, but you do need money for a lot of things, even if it's just for ads or paying someone to do your videos or something. Sorry. So yeah, I think one of the top things for me is learning the business of all of this, if that's the direction you want to go to.
Yeah. You mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation how you've basically been doing this for 12 years at this point. I don't think many people talk about how long it takes and how much of a process it is. And it could be a double-edged sword. You know, it could be like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this forever and I'm not what you were saying earlier, and I'm not exactly where I thought I would be. But I do think it's important to talk about that, because we hear about artists for the most part once they make it big, or if they're in our niche kind of pool of interest, right? And we assume, oh, this was a night to day thing. Like all of a sudden it's like you don't know who they are and they've blown up. What is that process like? Or how has it been for you? Because I'm sure every process is different for everyone.
Everyone's process is very different. For me, it's been girl, I don't even know what word to explain it. It's been an uphill battle. There have been some amazing moments that I'm so grateful for, but those are moments that end. And then there are the rock bottom,
humbling
moments that it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Who am I without my art? Yeah. Who am I if this doesn't work out? It's that deep for a lot of us artists. But that's for some of us. A lot of artists do, within 2 or 3 years, blow up. I I don't know if that's just stuff of the universe. It was meant for them. And a lot of the time, I do think it has a lot to do with your team. A lot of people don't talk about that enough because your team really does help you get to where you need to go. And I know so many artists that are freaking amazing, but I feel like their team just isn't strong enough.
What
like
makes a
me.
strong team?
I think a manager. Of course, I'm still learning a lot of these things, and I have my own beliefs because of my experience. So this is my opinion.
Disclaimer.
Yes, disclaimer. This is my opinion. I think having a manager that's truly connected in the industry, that has a hefty network system and contacts, really gets you far. A publicist, a label behind you pushing your music on playlists, on getting you on tour with a bigger artist to open for, those kinds of things. A team that can help you do those things is really important, and why I think a lot of artists blow up that big, because they have that powerful team behind them. So I think it does come down to your team.
So it's not just talent.
Talent doesn't
Let's
matter.
demystify that already.
Yeah, let's just say this. Unfortunately, talent does not matter anymore. And I have been told that. I've worked with so many people, and they're like, look, Yancy, you can sing better than half of these artists that are at the top of the charts, but talent doesn't matter anymore. And another important thing is your branding, too. And that's been something I've been struggling with, and I feel like
it takes time to figure out also.
It does. For me, these past 6 years have been so frustrating with figuring out who I wanted to show myself as an artist, because I have so many things that I'm interested in. I want to do jazz. I also want to do R&B. I also love Latin music, and I love rock.
And you should be able to do it all.
Yeah, but it's difficult because everybody wants to put you in a box, and it's just easier to, I guess, market you when you've got one thing going on, which I understand. But for me, it's just been a little frustrating. But I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to who I want to present myself, especially now with this new project coming up.
That's exciting. Yeah. Tell me more about the new project.
Ooh, girl. I'm really excited for this one because it's going to be my first album. I'll be releasing it next year.
What's it called?
Okay. Should I even say it, or should we bleep it out and leave the last word? I don't know. I'm going to say it. So it's going to be called, it's not Love Cariño, it's Limerence. So it's going to be very Spanglish, very alternative R&B. And this album is actually very healing for me. It's I
love that.
Yeah. And specifically Limerence, I wanted to call it that because how do I start with this? Because limerence is a very deep thing.
For those who don't know, what is limerence?
So limerence is pretty much when you kind of obsess over the idea of a person that you thought you were in love with. Mm-hmm. And it could also be as deep as like losing your mind over them too. I'm not saying that I have lost my mind. I have not. But that is what limerence is. And it comes from a deeper thing like abandonment as a child and abuse, all those things. So I don't know how to get into it because it is a little bit deep from where I was coming from with it. Yeah. But I did grow up witnessing a lot of DV at home. And that's really tough for anybody. I don't even want to just say young girl. Yeah. For anybody witnessing that at home and also being the person, I don't want to say attacked, but hurt. And so that also affected me as an artist too. I wasn't able to fully be me because of what was going on at home. I was so closed off as well. And I was scared. I was just extremely insecure. And so I guess I did fall in love with someone who was also hurt and wasn't good for me. And so I kind of became obsessed with the idea of who they could be. And
we do that a lot. We see the potential. I became obsessed with the feeling that he gave me because I felt like nobody else could love me like he could. Mm-hmm. And I felt like he was filling that void of the absence of
a father that I wanted. So that's where it's coming from. But overall, it's a really beautiful project. And I'm really, really excited for it. So yeah, it's not super depressing. It's actually a really fun album, and it's got ups and downs, and I'm really proud of this one.
As you should be. It's your first album, right?
It is.
That's so exciting. I mean, listen, if Miami is just a little taste of what is to come, I think we're all in for a treat, and I truly cannot wait. I want to tap into your inspiration. So both on an artist front. So are there artists that you look up to? You already mentioned Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
And also where you get the inspo for your music beyond life experiences, which you just shared. So whichever of the two you want to touch on first.
I get inspired from so many things. Of course, from my life that I pull from. My mom has been such a huge inspiration as well. Her life, I've written a lot of songs trying to be in her mind. And
what's her name? Let's give her a shout out.
Her name's Nancy.
Oh, okay.
Nancy and Yancy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I've gotten so much inspiration from her, and she was a writer too. So a lot of her poems I kind of take a look at and not steal, but I get some inspiration from it. When people talk to me and tell me about their stories too, their chisme, I'm like, okay, I think I can write something about this. Or if I meet a person and they truly impact me, I'll write about that as well.
Do you tell them?
No.
I love that. Sneaky.
Yeah, I kind of just let people
figure it out
themselves. But a lot of my songs were about my ex, because he was my biggest inspiration, I guess you can say. And he was my only boyfriend ever. So there was a lot of songs that I wrote about him. But I do have a lot of artists that I had looked up to. My mom played so much music from around the world, literally around the world. Like, we would listen to music that were Arabic music, and she'd belly dance around the house. She loved it. A lot of course, merengue, bachata.
Well, because I don't think we've talked about your roots.
Yeah, well, I don't think so either. Yeah.
You want to mention those real quick?
Yeah, so I'm fully Dominican. My mom was she was born in Mao and moved to Monción and Meseta, which is outside of Santiago. And so, yeah, my family's from out there. I love being Dominican American. I was born in Brooklyn, by the way.
Okay,
Brooklyn. Yeah.
BK represent.
represent. And then I grew up in the Heights in Dykeman.
Okay. So lots of merengue in the household. That's what you were saying.
Lots of bachata, palo music as well, which is more of an Afro-Dominican sort of music.
Mm-hmm.
And other artists like Juan Gabriel, lots of Mexican artists being played in the house as well. Great vocalists that come from Mexico. Rocío Dúrcal. A lot of those artists were some of my biggest inspirations, because they were like vocalists. They were singers that made you feel, made you cry. And that's kind of what I want people to feel when they see me live, especially. And I love to incorporate a lot of boleros in my live performances too, because I feel like there's a special connection that I have with it when I sing bolero music.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that making music has been cathartic for you, and in that same way, you want it to be cathartic for others?
Music has been my savior. It really has been. I don't know where I would be without it, even though, yes, it's been a frustrating journey because of the dreams that I want from it.
Yeah.
But when it's just me and my guitar finishing a song, there's nothing that fulfills me more than that moment of, wow, I wrote a really great song. I expressed what I wanted to say, and this feels good. And I don't know what it is. Music is just like a universal language. No matter what language it's in, people will love if they connect to it.
Feeling is universal too.
Yes. So yeah, music has been my lifesaver, for sure.
That's so beautiful. You mentioned moments, right, where they're so great, but at the end of the day, they're just moments. And the same thing goes on the flip side, the ones that are maybe not so great. Can you share any anecdotes from both categories that have shaped where you are today and how your outlook on music and your journey?
Just what?
Listen, we have time. You can do as many as you want. We can start off with a few.
Let's see. What should I start off with? Let's start out with the good moments. Being on The Voice Dominicana, for example. That's probably one of the biggest
turning
points for me. I felt like, oh my gosh, life is gonna change for me. I'm on this huge stage. I have all these cameras on me. This is what I've always dreamed of and what I've always wanted. I was just, vibrations were up here. They were up. Cloud 9. They were up. Cloud 9. And then I would go back home thinking that life would be different, and it wasn't.
Different in what way?
Different as in like, oh, this is finally my big break. Finally, I might get signed. Finally, I'll have a manager who sees me and sees how great of an artist I can truly be and am. But then, for example, with that whole moment, I come back home and then it's like, okay, nothing's really happening.
You're like,
and that's where I start going downhill. That's where it's like, gosh, why didn't it work out this way? That's where the obsession takes over. Why didn't it work out the way that I had planned this thing or dreamed, or it should have gone this way? And that's where I hit rock bottom after The Voice. And I had to go back to teaching music because I
beautiful, by the way.
It is beautiful. It is. And I don't want to take away from that, because teaching and being a teacher is something extremely rewarding and very much needed, especially today and always. But when you have these huge dreams of being a specific person and being at a specific place and become obsessed with that idea, you do hit rock bottom. I was in the darkest hole in my life. I wasn't happy with myself. I hated the journey that I was in. I was frustrated. I wanted to give up. And so that's what I meant. So these moments, and that's where I had learned that these are just moments that I'm chasing, and that those moments end. I have to be fulfilled with what I have. And in that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot about God. I forgot how I'm being very ungrateful. I have the healthiest body. I have a family by my side. I have a home. I had food. I felt like I was being the most ungrateful child. And so,
by the way, those are all real things, but that doesn't negate your frustration.
Of course.
Like, una cosa no quita la otra,
right,
you know?
Right. And so I kind of just had to figure out a way to just get myself back up and do the thing. So, yeah. And we're still grinding and doing the thing. I hope that I answered the question completely, because I have the mind of a goldfish, and I tend to go off on a tangent and forget what the actual question was.
You absolutely answered it. It was anecdotes that have shaped your career or your outlook, and that absolutely was answered. I'm curious to know, how did you start learning instruments? You mentioned the importance of teaching, right?
Yes.
So who taught you?
So when I had moved to Dykeman from Brooklyn with my mom, there were these programs, these summer programs at CUNY in the Heights. It wasn't far from our house. And I forgot his name, but he was this very nice old man. And he started teaching me guitar at the program that they had. And I think it was free for the community. So that was great, because my mom at the time wasn't an officer yet. She's a parole officer. So she was working like 5 different jobs. So it was free to us. And I fell in love with the instrument. A friend of my mom's bought me a little acoustic guitar, and I kept practicing. And then got scholarships to go to Harlem School of the Arts and programs after school and during the weekend to just continue working on my craft. And that's how I learned. I just had teachers throughout my whole life, and that I'm still close to, and that I still call up for like lessons. And because you're always going to be learning. I always say I'm going to be a student of life till I'm past 70. Like, I'm never going to stop learning. So yeah, I just have so many teachers and mentors that's helped me.
Important. Do you want to maybe talk about another mentor or any person who has greatly contributed to where you are today?
So many. Mrs. Edwards was one of my first teachers, mentors that really stuck with me. That was around the era of 5th grade, entering this talent show. And she was like, girl, you got a nice voice. And she was like this old white hippie. So she was so chill and like, had a really nice voice, you know?
I can picture her right now.
She's the best. Hi, Mrs. Edwards. And she really saw something special in me, and she was like, I want you to continue this. You have a gift for this. And we still stay in contact till this day. So she's one of my most beloved teachers that I've had, as well as Miss Yolanda, who I still go to for lessons. She's been my vocal teacher for the past 13 years. Yeah, she's been a big part of my journey as well. So mentors are really important, and finding those people that are willing to help you and grow is really important.
The thing you just mentioned is consistent with what you were saying earlier of being very intentional when selecting an agent or a manager, right? Talk about that process a little bit more. You know, you mentioned one of your frustrations is not being signed currently.
Yeah.
What do you think, I'm not going to say has gotten in the way, but what are your non-negotiables when you're thinking about that process, like that have maybe contributed to why you're not willing to settle? And maybe it's taken a little bit longer than you expected as a result.
I think forcing me to sing a certain type of genre is something that I don't want to fully compromise in. Because I don't say fully, because there are some things that you do have to compromise. But I'm not going to like, for example, I'm not going to go straight up pop when I'm more of a R&B, jazz, Latin, Spanglish thing. Yeah. I don't want to compromise that. But I'm willing to do something that still keeps me and my vision and blending that. If that makes sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So I always feel like you will have to compromise something. But yeah, changing my sound completely is just a non-negotiable for me.
It's almost like asking you to change who you are.
Yeah,
because your music is a reflection of you.
It is. And I remember I was, how old was I? I was like 16. There was this person who really could have changed my life, but he wanted me to do something completely different, completely change my voice. And I was just like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. So yeah, after that, I was kind of just like, I'll just wait until God presents the correct opportunity for me, and I'll know that it's right. And you can negotiate all these things as well. So don't ever be afraid to think that you can't do that. Always negotiate your contracts, because everything's negotiable.
What do you want to be known for as an artist?
As an artist? Well, as a person, I've thought about this. As a person, I want to be remembered as someone that made people feel comfortable, feel that I made them laugh, that I brought light into whatever room I walked in, as someone who was kind and someone who valued hard work. As an artist, just someone who sang from the heart, someone that didn't try to give you something fake, and gave you everything of her artistically. Yeah, I don't know if that's still something I got to think about, though.
That's okay, and it can change.
It will change for sure.
It will evolve just as much as you will, you know. If we're thinking pie in the sky here, if you could collaborate with one artist, who would it be? There's no limitation. This is an ideal world situation. I'm big on manifesting, so we're going to put this out into the universe for you.
Okay.
Who would it be?
Camilo. He is an amazing songwriter. My goodness, que Dios lo bendiga. Porque the songs that he writes, I was just listening to a song called Gordo by him. Dude! Oh my God, I was in that train about to cry. Like, my eyes were getting so watery because I was like, the wordplay, the story, he's one person I would love to work with. All in all.
What would you say is the secret sauce for a good artist? Is it the lyrics? I mean, you just mentioned what impacted you, right, from that song, but there's a general theme that you're mentioning here in terms of the feelings that are evoked as a result of the music. So what is something that you strive to maintain throughout your work that you also deem to be qualities that make a good artist?
I want to keep my lyrics, I want my lyrics to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the songs nowadays are less than 40 words. Verses repeat. And not saying that I don't have songs like that.
Yeah.
But I want my lyrics to mean something. It doesn't have to be like a whole Shakespeare, sonnet. But I want it to mean something. I want you to feel something when you hear it. It's not just, walking in the sun, feeling good, and repeating the same thing. I want you to listen and be like, wow, is this about me? Like, that's how close I want you to feel to what I'm singing.
I love that. You mentioned that at 9 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that talent show, that was kind of like an awakening of, this is what I meant to do. This is what I want to do. What would you tell your 9-year-old self right now based on your journey?
Focus, one, on Yancy. Focus on Yancy. Do not look left and right to what Fulana is doing over here, Fulanito Jose is doing over there. Focus on what Yancy wants and needs to do and what she's put here to do. Because we're all here to serve. I've always believed that God has each of us, all of our purpose is to serve each other. What do I need to do here? 2, focus on the music. Of course, like I mentioned, you got to learn about the business side and all that, but focus on the art. Focus on what you want to say.
The why.
The why, and let that guide you. So, yeah, I think a big thing for me was always comparing myself. And, we all do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it came to a point where it's like, I'm not enough because they're better than me.
Yeah. What do you do to remind yourself of what you've accomplished, but more so than anything, just, I don't know, like affirm that you're doing what you're doing because you're meant to do it and you're on the right path, especially when you're knocked down or especially when you're in the weeds of the day to day and you're like, oh, like I wish things were different, or I wish that all the hard work that I've put would be even more visible.
So I'm sorry.
What do you do to remind yourself
of
all those things, to kind of recenter and be like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm doing things how I'm supposed to.
I take a moment to be alone first and look at everything that I'm doing that a lot of people aren't able to handle, and they give up so easily because they can't do it. So I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go into praying. I wouldn't say I'm like all-knowing of God, but I know God
Everyone
exists.
has their own relationship.
Yeah. I know God exists, and I know that when I sit and I pray and I just let it out, that God is listening. And I feel so comforted. So I pray, and then I also, this is so silly, and I can't believe I'm going to admit this.
Let's admit it.
I go to YouTube and I just watch a bunch of these YouTubers that talk about like self-love and all this like stuff.
I've been there at times.
And I'm just like,
There's
okay,
no shame.
girl. I just be talking to the screen. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're so right. As if she can hear me. One of my favorite YouTubers is Jadina. I love her. Hopefully she gets to see this. She doesn't know who I am. But she's one of my favorite YouTubers. And it's just like every video I see of hers, I'm like, girl, are you stalking?
Yeah.
Like, this is my life. What do you mean? So actually, yeah, I do a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and of people who are very uplifting. And even though it's silly and it feels ridiculous in the moment, it's so helpful.
It works, girl.
It
it's
works.
Important.
You need to, it doesn't matter if you're hearing the same things over and over again. You need to feed your subconscious all these positive things because it works, man. This starting from February was when I started like truly focusing on meditation and just watching all these like positive YouTubers. Is when my life started to really like, things are going really well, let's just say. Things are going really well, and I love that. And I do think it's because of the work that I'm putting to be more positive. Of course, bad moments will happen, and I understand that. But for the most part, I'm keeping myself up and positive because it gets tough out here.
I love it. So we've talked about the upcoming album, right? Beginning of next year or 2026 in general. What is the process between now and then? Have you finished all the songs? Is it more so on promotion? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, since I'm the only one doing this,
like you're looking at the tea.
Not completely alone, because I do have some people that are helping out. But for the most part, I'm the one who's booking my studio sessions. I'm the one who's telling the mixer, this is what I want. Telling them to send me 6 different mixes because I'm not happy with it and I'm a perfectionist.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, right now I'm currently in the mixing process for a lot of the songs. I'm not done completely with all of them because it's about... I wanted it to be 13 songs because I love albums that are like 13 plus songs. I think to me, that's an album, like 20 songs. That's what I was used to seeing growing up. I'm such a music nerd. I would buy CDs. I would open them. I'd get the little booklet and I look through who the producers are, the songwriters are. And in the back, it was just a list, songs from 1 to 20 songs. So anyway, I wanted it to be about 13 songs, but we're working it out. And yeah, it's still in the earlier processes of this. But hopefully by November we'll be done with all of them.
That's exciting. Que así sea. Que así sea.
Yes.
Aside from your album, which is a huge milestone, a huge project, lots to look forward to, is there anything else that you're maybe working on that you can give us an inside scoop? What's down the pipeline?
I don't know if I can say, but
give us something, girl. Come on.
Darn, no, because I signed something. Not a deal. It was more of an NDA. And so, but it is a really fun opportunity that I was a part of. I might be on a screen or not. I may or may not. Who knows?
When will we find out?
That's a good question. I actually have no idea. Hopefully end of this year, but I have to find out when that airs.
Okay. Oh, that's exciting. I also know that there's an all-woman project coming next year. Tell us what you can without giving it away too much.
Well, all I'm going to say is that this project is so special because everyone working on the album is women. The producers, the publicists, the songwriters, the artists, we're all women. And I'm extremely excited for the world to hear this. And
it's a musical project.
Yes, it's a musical project. It's going to be an album. And I cannot wait for the world to hear it. And I'm already like thinking of things that I want my song to have, what I'm going to sing about. And all the women that are in this project are phenomenal. I am so grateful to be a part of this. And gosh, I wish I could say more, but I can't.
No, listen, I appreciate, and I'm sure the listeners do too, anything you can give us, a little bone you threw us over there. I appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to share with the world? The floor is yours. Anything that people don't talk about enough, anything that people don't know about you specifically or the intentions that you have, although you've made those pretty clear.
Yeah. World peace. Have you seen Miss Congeniality?
Please. Have
what
I?
What do you want for the world peace? No, but since we're talking mostly about music, I kind of just want to give some words of encouragement to independent artists out here, because it's hard. It's hard. We're working 3 to 5 jobs just to pay for videos and ads and paying producers and studio time. But know that you can do it. That is so cliche, but you can do this. You can get up in the morning and remember your why. You can lift yourself up and know that this is what you truly want to do, and nothing is going to get in your way. And you will attract the right people that will help elevate you as an artist and fans. These are all things that we can attract by being more positive, and believing in ourselves a lot more. So you can do this and open your own doors, create your own opportunities. I can't stress enough how huge this is, because a lot of the time, us independent artists want to reach the people that have already made it and they're like working with these big artists, for example, a producer or whatever. You want to work with those people, but you're not at that level. And you have to really realize, well, depending on, we're all at different levels. But for people that are more in my area, we have to create our own opportunities and we have to collaborate with each other. Because then that brings in those people that are like, oh, what's going on over there? I think we can, collaborate or something or help out even more. So open your own doors and make things happen for yourself. So that's all I want to say.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time and for joining me here today. I'm super excited for Limerence and the other projects that you hinted at.
Yeah.
You're welcome here anytime. Estás en tu casa. I hope you felt that. And you definitely come back. And with that concludes our episode for today. More Convos with Sazón next week. Bye.